So this animation was done a while back in Procreate Dreams, and there's a tilt in the wine glass, and the liquid in the wine glass isn't placed right, because the top of the liquid would usually level up with the horizon, so it would be just a straight line. Instead of tweaking it in Procreate Dreams, I decided to go back to Procreate from where I had originally imported all the assets and tweak it there in the layers. So I finally managed to tweak it, and it looked reasonably good, but I was all excited to check whether I could replace that track seamlessly just by dragging and dropping. So the group in which I had the layer of the hand also had other assets in it, like the bubbles and the sparkle in the liquid, and so that's the sparkle, and so in that group I created a new track on top of the hand and the glass track, and then into that track I imported the tweaked new hand and wine glass layer. So once I dragged and dropped it there, I set it so that it matched with the beginning of the animation, and then it moved perfectly and matched with the whole animation move of the original track. So the only thing that I now needed to do was to resize it, the new track, so that it matched with the size and shape of the original track. So for that I went back to move and scale, and then moved it and scaled it so that it matched more or less with the shape and size of the original track. And once it looked reasonably good, then I had to go back and switch off the visibility of the original track, the track that I had to tweak. So there I've switched off the visibility, and now I have only the new tweak track, and without losing the original animation in it, and it looks pretty good to go. So I could have deleted the original track, but there you run the risk of losing all the animation that was done in performance mode, and it took me quite a while to get that animation in the way that it looked right. So another thing that you have to be careful about when you work with groups is that for instance, in this animation it's a walk cycle. Basically the character just walks across the screen and out of the screen. So in this I'm just going to add a somersault in the performance animation mode halfway through the walk, so that he comes and just flips like that. It looks funny. So I'm just going to add another item here and see if that matches up with the original animation in the group. So I go into the group and I add another track, and I'm going to draw a simple yacht which is going to move along with him through the frame. So it's a very simple drawing of a yacht, and I'm going to click and drag and stretch the frames, and then when you hit fill duration, it fills all the way to the end of the track. Alright, so it moves along with the character, but there's no reaction to the somersault, the rotate, which we had added into the animation. Why doesn't that happen? The reason for that is that I had actually done a group within a group, so the character animation was another group within the main group. So this time I'm going to add the yacht inside the main group where the animation track was, right on top of it, within that group. So I'm drawing the yacht again, and as usual I'm going to stretch the frames and hit fill duration, and it fills the whole duration, and this time the whole yacht spins or rotates along with the main character's movement. So the one last thing that I want to add in this small video is that you have to be careful about the anchor point of the main animation around which everything else is grouped. So the anchor point will be of the main animation track, and so if you move the anchor point around, it will affect the animation depending on where it is placed to the main animation track. For instance, now I've placed it in the middle of the yacht and the character, and when you move the anchor point away from very much away from the character, the somersault is it just throws it out of the track, because the anchor point around which it spins is so far away from the character. So this is one thing that you have to be keep in mind. The yacht actually is grouped to the main character, so the anchor point of the yacht will not be the crux around which the action happens, but the anchor point of the yacht has its own advantage that it can bring to the animation. For instance, if you go on performance mode animation and give a kind of wobble by using the rotate feature to the yacht, once you start the performance mode, the yacht's going to start moving along with the character, and as soon as you start, there you go, I'm going to check that rotation. Alright, now I'm going to touch it and I'm going to give it a kind of a wobble. I'm going to stop before the somersault because that's going to be again is going to spin it up and down. So when I go back and replay, that action is baked into the animation which we had already. So that's an awesome, amazing feature that we have here.